Hi, this is Mark Newman, Chief Analyst at TM Forum, speaking to you from DTW 2026, and I'm here with Stephen from DigitalRoute and Jay from Sutherland, and we're talking about mediation and the evolution of mediation. We're also talking about a wonderful Catalyst program that Sutherland's been involved in leading. So, Stephen, if maybe I can just start with you, and DigitalRoute's obviously been in the mediation business for many, many years. But it's having like a renaissance because it's moving from being a billing function which is actually core to the network. So can you walk us through the evolution of billing and where it's got to and where it's going?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, we started back in 2000 pretty much with billing mediation, and the perception has always been that mediation is billing mediation, and that is the role, that is the function. But in reality, mediation in itself has got multiple use cases. And over the years, we've seen obviously a majority of those being linked to revenues and revenue management with billing mediation. But we have, over the recent years, also been dabbling in certain operational use cases where the operators that have got our platform have recognized, actually, maybe we could use this to do some of the data mediation for this use case in an operational case. And that's really coming into itself now, as we know, and as we've seen at the show.
And so, I mean, the last 5 years, I guess, what's happened the last 5 years? Well, I guess it's been generative now, agentic AI. It's been autonomous networks. So I guess that's pretty important, the evolution of mediation and what you're.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, as you know, and as we commented on over the years, mediation basically flatlined over a number of years. But then we have seen, like you say, with the evolution of these agentic NOCs and agentic operations, the rise of importance. And it's as if kind of, networks suddenly woken up and realized the value that it can bring. And it's important because, the agentic operations and the efficiency of how, agents work is based on the data foundation. And if you don't get that right, and it's easy to forget the unstructured, unfiltered, and unstateful nature of network information.
Yeah.
And if you just push that straight into the data platform, and add your ontologies and your contextual relationships, then you're working with unstructured data and low quality data.
Yeah.
So it really raises the importance of that data foundation layer.
And I think you've built a piece of research with some of my industry colleagues at Appledore Research that kind of proves some of those proof points, I guess. So what were the main findings of that research that you undertook?
Yeah, I think, like you said, it really came out strongly that, the data foundation is absolutely fundamental to this future success of the agentic NOC. And they broke it down, John from Appledore, he broke it down into 3 core layers. It wasn't made overly complex. And it was basically saying at the top, you've got, the agents and the applications in the pyramid. And then underneath that, you've got the context and the ontologies. And then very much at the base of this, you've got the data foundation. And that is really, the perfect role.
And here at this event, a lot of talk about autonomous networks, and when you get to level 4, that is introducing some level of autonomy. Can you again walk us through what that means in terms of mediation and the role in autonomous networks towards level 4?
Yeah, absolutely. So we're at the moment we're in a phase of resurgence where people are saying, did you know mediation can do this? But certainly moving forwards now, mediation is going to reinvent itself. And we're talking things, we're researching and working on things such as an MCP layer so that agents can very efficiently access the data that we've got. We're talking about small language models as well, because there is still a lot of data whichever way you slice it, and agents don't necessarily need to have full access to all of the information to then make their assumptions and carry out their actions. So these small language models will be absolutely vital for the efficiency of the agentic operations.
And in terms of the story that you with your customers are telling about mediation, autonomous networks, I think most of the sort of the business, the ROI currently comes around cost efficiency gains. But actually, there's might be a revenue story. I think that's something that came out in the Appledore report. So is that how well evolved is that story, if you like?
It's important. I mean, in the past, the mediation has focused on sending batch data so that bills can be carried out on a monthly basis or whatever it is. But now when you're talking about agentic operations and autonomous networks, you've got to be working on stateful data at any one time. So the need to capture all of the usage information from the network environments in an instant and then act upon that is vital. And that not only plays into operations, but it also means that operators can then start thinking about how they monetize their AI capabilities. And that's very much what we're seeing in the enterprise markets as well. Because we're serving, there's a big discussion at the moment about AI monetization for large corporates and enterprises as well.
So Jay, if I can turn to you, Sutherland has been participating in one of the bigger Catalyst programs around Agentic NOC. So those people who are not intimately aware of what's going on in the Catalyst, can you walk us through the Agentic NOC Catalyst?
For sure. So an Agentic NOC, to begin with, it's an ecosystem of agents, but probably need to start with what is the NOC itself and why would you need an Agentic NOC? So the NOC is a network operations center. And for operators, that network operations center is the heartbeat. It sits right at the center. It's monitoring the network. It's making sure that the services that their customers rely upon are always up and always on. It's staffed by many technicians, analysts, and engineers that will monitor the network. They'll open tickets, they'll triage incidents, they'll do basic troubleshooting and some very in-depth troubleshooting. So there's a lot of functions and actions that are taken by a human in those events. The challenge is that today, and over the recent past, these networks are becoming really complex. So adding 5G and IoT services and container-based services, it becomes very complex. And then you add the additional scale that's being added. It's almost impossible to scale that workforce to be able to handle the thousands of events and alerts that are coming, to be able to take contextual actions to resolve those issues. So what an Agentic NOC does, it builds these agents that will really do the same thing that those NOC technicians and engineers were doing. So it will open trouble tickets. It will see the events, the alerts coming in. It'll triage. It will correlate, prioritize, categorize. It'll contextualize. And then in many cases, when you start reaching the autonomous level 4, and that's what we're shooting for and what we've shot for on our Agentic NOC Catalyst project, you can do some human in the loop, but primarily we're looking to do closed loop remediation, so completely autonomous remediation. And as you can imagine, if you're doing a completely autonomous remediation or resolution of an incident, taking action without human intervention, you really need to trust that data. That data has to be available. It has to be consistent. And so that's what we've done. And then you need to validate the context as well through a digital twin. So that's what our Agentic NOC Catalyst project has done. We've been able to showcase it here at DTW. It's been a phenomenal project and experience. But at the foundation of this is the data. And that you need that consistency in that data and availability of that data that mediation brings. And that's kind of new to operators right now.
I think this is the first phase 1 of the Catalyst. So is there going to be, is there going to be a next iteration of it? And what's that going to seek to do? It's too early.
That's a great question. And these are conversations that we're having right now. And the answer is, I would like to say yes. And I think most partners and the champions themselves saw the value. I think everybody wants to move forward with a phase 2. We're defining what that criteria and that scope would be, but maybe level 5 autonomy is out there a little bit, but how can we bridge between 4 and 5?
Level 5, but maybe that's the story for 2027. So Jay, Stephen, thanks so much for your time, and it's a great story to tell, so thanks for sharing it with us.
Thanks, Mark.